Go ahead, you go.
Good.
Okay, so this is a choke I taught last week or the week before, okay? There's like a reverse cross choke. I don't care what you call it, all right? But they had some questions about it on, of course, YouTube. Well, what if you do this? Couldn't you just do this? Absolutely. You have to understand that there is no perfect move. There's no such thing. If there was 2 or 3 perfect moves, you would seriously just come here for 3 to 6 months, perfect it, you know, and go white to black and then leave, okay? There's a lot of options. There's a lot of things that happen, okay? So I showed a lot of different variations on what you could do with this grip, but I'll just kind of go over the basics of what they were asking. So I was talking about doing to a seatbelt grip, okay? And one thing they said was, well, that's easy when the person's hands are just that lax. They're not doing anything. Yes, absolutely. It's also a video, so that way I can show you how to demonstrate the move. It's very easy to do every single move when no one is reacting. Absolutely. But how am I supposed to teach you the move if the person is constantly defending? Okay? So understand that every move is taught in every single class with the person giving you a little resistance, so that way I, the instructor, or another instructor can show you the move, okay? We don't do it where they're fighting the whole time, because then it would take forever to actually get the move out, okay? So the move I was showing was mainly if his hands were on my hands, defending. I could still open up this collar and feed it in right away, okay? And I was talking about coming over, which I could come over this way, I could push this way, I could lean down to that side, which I would have to do, and grab this collar like this, okay? And I pull this hand out, and you can go over or you can come under and grab this other side and do a reverse cross choke. So they wanted to know, like, well, if the person is being so laxed, I mean, it's easy to do the move. Well, okay, so go ahead and fight my hands. So as he's fighting my hands, everybody knows a 2-on lapel grip is pretty strong, okay? If I can hold this for 10 seconds, much less a minute, that's like an eternity for him, because I'm already getting half his blood supply cut off, okay? Another question was, well, look, see how his hand's defending right here? He's sticking his own hand inside of his trachea. So that's gonna eventually work against him eventually, all right? So the move, go ahead. So put your fingers all the way in. He's defending. I'm gonna come under from the back side, and it still chokes him, okay? So that's one of the questions, all right? Well, how are you gonna do the move if their hands are just laxed? I mean, what if they're actually defending or doing something, okay? So that's a valid question. That's understandable. So here we are. I'm in this position. This position is extremely easy to get, okay? Because this is what they're worried about, right? So if I come to here and his hands are already trying to defend, I come to here and do this, look, I grab that bottom gi, no problem. Because he knows I'm going to choke his face. So he's coming right up to that hand right away. And I can pull back and shoot right back across and grab. Now I showed a lot of different finishes. So here's another option. One of the other questions was, well, can't you just bridge and get your back to the mat? Wouldn't that help? So you might have to follow me with the camera. Okay, well, let's bridge and get our back to the mat. His back goes to the mat. I simply just come up into mount, and my hand is still across his neck. Is it gonna choke him at that point? No, absolutely not. But it's gonna put a lot of pressure on his trace, and if I do get it deep enough, it could choke him, but now I'm in mount, and he's still stuck in a bad spot. That's the point of the whole move. Besides choking him out, I can still move into another dominant position. So let's look at it from another standpoint of him escaping his back to the mat. So I'm here, I grab it, okay? If he goes to escape his back to the mat now, come around this side, Jim. I kept that grip, I followed him up, and look, I shoot in for the head and arm doors. Well, it's not doors, head and arm choke. I come up into here, lay my pressure in here. Or shoot into that grip, put my head up against his, dismount, and come in this way, okay? So I'm losing that back reverse choke, but by him putting his back to the mat is defending, that is a good option. It just leads me into another dominant position. I'm not completely losing my position. That's what's important. I'm still dominating the match, okay? Here's another option. So I get this position right away, okay? I come in, I catch that grip. Immediately when he begins to bridge and goes back to the mat, I just bring my leg up, over, all right? So I went from here to here, I'm losing it, right? I release and hit the trap triangle right away, all right? I can start pulling this way, and I'm gonna squeeze my knees like a scissor choke. Because now I'm compressing him. Now it's a trach choke. Now it's way worse than what it would have been for you. The first time you go to sleep. Now you don't swallow right for a month. I capture the shoulder and come here. I talked about earlier, the other day, coming up here to here. You can go back to the mat if you want. That's even worse. Now I just pull this way and push this way with my foot. You're giving me another choke. It is a viable way to escape, but you are still running into problems, all right? This is a grip that is very easy, like I said before, to get to. It is an uncommon grip that is not threatening in any way, shape, or form, okay? But when I come over and I grab like this, that's a different story, all right? Anytime that person begins to move on me, this leg can come in to assist. So yes, as his back starts to go to the mat, I can now pick my leg out of the equation, turn my hip, drop it right back into the equation with my shin now behind his neck, and push like that. All right? These were all valid questions that I got, and there's nothing wrong with that. But let me reiterate once again, there is no perfect move in jiu-jitsu. There's no perfect move in any martial art, okay? If that was the case, they wouldn't have schools, all right? There wouldn't be membership retention or anything like that. You would pay for 6 months membership. You would learn the 2 or 3 masterful moves. You'd be a grandmaster and you'd move on with your life, and everyone could defend everybody perfectly, all right? So there's nothing wrong with asking questions, and there's nothing wrong with challenging, you know, a thought process. That's how other moves get developed and other systems come about, all right? But don't always look for a perfect solution. Always look for another way to stay dominant within that position, all right? Okay, let's move on to baseball chokes. That's it.